Matt and Perrin, friends of Rand, and they know so much about girls. Isn't that what they all say about each other? As a girl reading the book, I'm not sure that any one of them is actually the most knowledgeable. But before I go too far, this video is a character study about Matt and Perrin from The Eye of the World, so spoilers for book 1 of The Wheel of Time. This video may focus a little bit more on Perrin, and that's nothing against Matt. I just felt a little bit more like Perrin was treated as a main character and Matt was treated like a friend of the main character, but not necessarily a main himself. One of the first things that you immediately learn about Perrin is that he is large and strong. He was lucky enough to get a blacksmith apprenticeship from Master Luhhan, and so this already large, strong boy just started packing on the muscle. He is very aware of his strength, but he is not the type of person to take advantage of that. He is a gentle soul, so he is always slow and careful with his movements to be sure that he never hurts anyone. He does not like hurting people. Although that did not stop him from practicing with the axe that Master Luhhan made. He also thinks and reacts slowly. This is a personality trait that I share with Mr. Perrin. I'm not a quick reactor. I like to mull things over before making a decision. But Perrin is often made to feel like because he thinks slower, it means that he is less smart, which is totally not the case. But I think it is a perfect foil for Matt, who is kind of the opposite, whose emotions run hot and quick, and he does react and think faster. And as you can see from reading The Eye of the World, that doesn't necessarily mean that he makes a better decision because he reacted faster. In some ways, they are almost opposites. Just this personality trait of reaction, they're like hot and cool to each other. But these two personality types can help each other, as seen in my marriage. My husband is the quick reactor, quick thinker, and so I feel like I have a good point of view on how these two personality types can help each other. The quick thinker and quick reactor can help the slow thinker get to a decision faster. Come on, we have to decide, let's just do this. But the slow thinker, who likes to take their time and look at every angle of a situation, can help the quick thinker look at other options and alternatives that the quick thinker didn't take time to think of. Also, if you lived in Emond's Field and you were looking for a young man that you could trust, would you pick Perrin or would you pick Matt? Unfortunately, Matt has made a reputation for himself. He's kind of known as the troublemaker. He has a really hard time being serious and taking situations seriously. He's always the one cracking jokes, pointing out something that's ridiculous. He really values the humor of a situation. Maybe he doesn't want to have to think too critically, and so by laughing something off, then he doesn't have to think too much about it. And he does not take much time to think about consequences of his actions. He is more likely to ask the question, is this fun or funny? Because in the short term, that's more important to him. Now, these two boys also see the dark, mysterious figure that Rand saw. They also have their homes destroyed, and this kind of tells Moiraine, this mysterious stranger that has come to their little village, that when she tells Rand that he needs to flee, that these two boys should probably also go. She also knows she's there looking for a boy of a certain age, and since they're all three kind of the same age, and it appears that the Dark One is targeting them, she probably needs to take all three of them with her as well. I did notice in the book that when it comes time for them to leave, Perrin is very serious about it. Matt cannot help but make jokes about the fact that they all have weapons. What are we playing, soldier here? But I think the fact that the three boys are leaving Emond's Field with weapons that they're not used to, weapons that they have never had to use as a weapon. Even Matt, he's hunted with his bow, but he's never had to shoot a person. I think that's a great representation of what they're leaving behind and what they're going towards when they leave. Traveling with and expecting to use weapons are not something that's familiar to them. And they are leaving the familiarity of their home, their small town village life. And they are headed towards something where they may need these weapons. And I'm going to say something that is like probably not a spoiler. I have not read the entirety of The Wheel of Time at this point. I'm at the end of book 4, but I can only imagine that a big epic fantasy series like this is leading up towards a big battle against the Dark One. If I'm wrong, I'll be super surprised, but I just think about them leaving home in the first book, weapons in hand that they are not used to using, representing heading towards a battle that they don't even know they're heading towards yet. A battle that they're not even really aware is happening. Apparently the Dark One is moving, apparently he's after these 3 boys, but that hasn't really become a hard reality to them yet until they start running, another being chased, and now they have to deal with this head on. And like Rand, Mat and Perrin both have big life-changing things that happen to them as they journey through this book. The book is too big and there's too much that happens to them for me to cover everything. Otherwise this would be a super long video. But a couple of main things that really change their course and reflect who they are the finding of the dagger and the wolves. With Mat, I think it has a lot to do with his focus. He is focused on treasure. There is someone there who says, I have treasure, I need help, I will give you some. And Mat makes a choice. He decides to take the dagger. Mat and Rand decide not to take anything. And that shows a big difference on what they value. On the other hand, Perrin, through no choice of his, nothing that he decides to do or pursue, discovers that he is a wolf brother. Mat's thing that he has to deal with was by his own choice. Perrin's was like a destiny chasing him whether he wanted it or not. A destiny that chases him and won't let go once it's grabbed on, kind of like a wolf. And this idea of the wolf and the dagger, I think represents something a little deeper in each of them and what each of them values. The wolves represent a connection to the natural world and the dagger to man-made things. So I think when these 2 young men are going to be interacting with other people, Perrin will be more likely to see the person, and Mat will be more likely to see what the person has. I could be wrong about that. Tell me what you think. Oh, and then Perrin also discovers the way of the leaf. This has to seem so attractive to him, this gentle spirit that he has. He doesn't want to harm anyone. An entire life philosophy based on not hurting people? That sounds great. He admires this. He wishes that he could follow along with the way of the leaf, but he cannot embrace the practicality, not when he's been being chased by Trollocs all this time. But Perrin is also not going to just set down his axe and let someone kill him. He also believes in defending himself and defending the people he cares about. The boys get separated. They each go their own ways before coming back together again. Once all the characters are back together, I see a big shift in their motivation from reactive to proactive. Up until now, the characters have been running away. They may have felt like they were running towards Tar Valon, but they're really trying to just escape the baddies chasing them. But now they have a choice. Moiraine says that she and Rand at least need to go to the Blight, to the literal eye of the world, and any of the rest of them can come if they want. And Mat and Perrin both say, I will go. At the beginning of the book, I don't think they would have said that. They weren't off to search for adventure. They got swept along and told they had to. At this point where they're given a choice, they say they'll go. And they're not really sure what they can do, except maybe support Moiraine and maybe support Rand because Moiraine says Rand should go. But they are willing to do what they can. and they're starting to believe that they might actually be ta'veren and be able to do something. And then one more thing happens before the end that I think really shows their character and how their characters have been growing all this time. When they do get to the Blight, Nynaeve is attacked by the Forsaken. Super scary, monsters from legend, but Mat and Perrin have had to face scary things. They have had to fight before now, and they see someone from their home being attacked. They do not stand there and do nothing. They do not hesitate to jump forward and defend her. But I love that moment when they both just jump forward. They show their bravery, their courage. There was no hesitation in that defense of Nynaeve. They don't do much more before the end of this book, but their stories are not over, and I will be making more videos about these characters for the next books in the series. The next character I cover from the Eye of the World will be Egwene, probably in a few weeks. If you haven't already, check out my videos on Nynaeve and Rand. Subscribe here for more bookish content and character studies from fantasy books, and I'll see you next time. Bye!